Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Rick Hood, and I am the Director of Capital Access at RAIN. And very pleased to have today our Deputy Director, Robert Killen, is with us. And wave, Robert, wave to the crowd.
Good morning, everyone.
Also, our venture catalyst from Benton County, Nate Conroy. So today, we're going to talk about 5 steps to crowdfunding through RAIN and through our platform, RAINcap, which is, I'll tell you all about that in just a second. We kind of did our introductions, and here's our agenda, but we're going to talk about what is RAINcap, and is RAINcap or another crowdfunding platform right for you? But these would be the 5 steps that you would want to follow in order to really qualify for almost any platform. These happen to be specific to Republic, which is our crowdfunding platform partner, and we're going to talk about that. But the 5 steps are: you do an intake survey and you Zoom with me, you join RAINcap members area, and you get live plan. Step 3 would be you complete your plan and you seek mentor feedback and guidance. Step 4 would be get one-on-one coaching as you need it. And step 5 would be perfect your pitch and rally your crowd. And then we'll do some Q&A. Sound good? All right, so my goal today is to put these pictures out of the way. There we go. My goal today is to show you how to present your business in a clear and compelling way to anyone, to investors, to lenders, to partners. Everybody wants to know about your story, and the more clearly you can tell it, the more compellingly you can tell it, the better. It's going to improve your chances of getting the growth capital you're looking for, or the partners that you're looking for, or the line of credit that you're looking for. Okay. But first, I think we've got some comments from Robert. Take it away.
All right. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. I'm going to reshare the same screen. So I just want to share a couple things to just lay the foundation here, a little bit about RAIN and a little bit about the capital landscape, the funding landscape, to kind of know where equity crowdfunding fits in. But first, a little bit about RAIN for anybody who is kind of new to us. Our mission at RAIN is to partner with the communities that invite us in to catalyze their entrepreneurial ecosystems, to connect entrepreneurs to resources, and especially focusing on overlooked entrepreneurs, and as we can, contribute to the creation of prosperous economies. That is our goal. And our primary focus for you as clients is to connect you, entrepreneurs, to people, programs, physical assets, and most importantly here, to capital. And that's what we're going to, at least for today, that's what we're going to be focusing on today is the capital piece. But before we do that, I have to give a huge shout of appreciation out to our partners. And we have partners across the landscape. We are building ecosystems, so our partners include all the cities that work with us. They include organizations like the SBDC and SCORE and others, and of course Republic, who we'll talk about here today. Mentors, many people step up to mentor our entrepreneurs in our community, and of course you are our entrepreneurs themselves, yourselves, and our funders. It is our joy to do this work. So in order for us to talk about equity crowdfunding, it's important for you to understand the whole capital landscape. And I'm only going to take a second to do this. This could be an entire weekend-long seminar if we wanted to get into it, but we're going to go very quickly. If we think about all the different types of businesses, and there are lots of different ways to think about them, one way is to create a chart, which I've done here. which looks at market size from local to global, and then degree of innovation from tried and true like franchise models all the way up to your artists who are doing truly visionary and even disruptive things. You get a bunch of different types of businesses. We're not going to talk about all of these, but it is important to recognize that different types of capital, different types of funding is appropriate for different spaces on this map. The most common form of funding after being self-funded, the vast majority of new businesses get started with self-funding. The next is bank debt or other types of standard debt. And debt is best in areas where you've got where things are more tried and true. The lender understands what you're doing and how they're going to get paid back. So the world of debt is very big, but it definitely is better on the bottom half of this chart where the innovation is less. And then in the upper left, you've got the world of venture capital. This is the world of Shark Tank and unicorns and what everyone's has this vision of building a business that goes global and then sells for millions of dollars, and it happens. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. It is important for us to recognize that while venture capital plays a big role in the total landscape, it actually funds a very tiny sliver of businesses, only less than 1%. About half of 1% of businesses are actually funded by venture capital. So it is a sort of rarefied air, but it's really fun to talk about and fun to build those types of businesses. So there's a lot of effort in there. But where does crowdfunding fit in? Well, you'll notice up here in the upper left-hand corner of artists, if it's too small and too innovative, it's hard to find funding for that space. And that's actually where crowdfunding came in. And now crowdfunding has evolved. So we've got this weird shape. Because if you think about crowdfunding and how crowdfunding actually functions, crowdfunding functions when you can rally a crowd. And there are two ways to rally a crowd. One, in this pillar on the very left here, are rallying your local crowd. One of the things we love about crowdfunding is you have the ability for communities now to invest in the businesses that they're excited about within their community. It's called community impact investing, and it's a new concept, but very exciting. So you've got this pillar of ability now through crowdfunding for communities to invest in their own. And then as this moves across here at the top, this triangle, these are truly innovative ideas that have the potential to grow and change the world. And crowdfunding is really good for those types of ideas as well, because again, you can rally a crowd against really cool ideas. So that's sort of how crowdfunding fits into this model. And there are now 4 types of crowdfunding. The very early types of crowdfunding were donation and rewards. Donation crowdfunding is just what it sounds like. Somebody's has a GoFundMe to support them in some endeavor, and there's no expectation you're going to get anything back. And then Kickstarter is kind of the brand that everybody thinks of when they think about rewards-based crowdfunding. So you donate or you invest in a game development, and the idea is that once that game is actually created, is constructed, that you're going to get an early version of that game. Now there are a couple new types of crowdfunding, or newer types of crowdfunding. There is debt, which again is just like it sounds. You contribute to a crowdfunding campaign, and you end up with a note that it gets paid back with a certain amount of interest. And Honeycomb Credit is just one of the platforms. These are just examples. There are lots of different crowdfunding platforms across all of these. And then the final one here, and this is what we're going to talk about today, is equity-based crowdfunding, or equity crowdfunding. And our partner and the largest player in this space is Republic, and you're going to hear more about that from Rick. And Rick, I think that is it. So back to you.
All right, thank you, Robert. Yeah, that's a great great landscape here. Let me share my screen again. Thanks everybody for your patience here. Oops, yeah, here we go. Okay, so RAINcap and Republic. What is RAINcap all about? RAIN's capital access platform is called RAINcap, and it's a crowdfunding platform exclusively highlighting Oregon businesses. What anyone can invest in these businesses from all over the country. And who is Republic? We selected Republic as our crowdfunding partner to help us launch a custom platform for Oregon businesses seeking capital, and it's equity and revenue share loans, as Robert just discussed. And as he also said, and I want to really emphasize this, RAINcap is designed to provide both community impact returns, such as business formation and job creation, but as well as a financial ROI. And Republic was the perfect partner for us. They share these values, and it's really been very exciting to work with them. Let's talk a little bit about their success. They have helped more than $700 million to find investment and into 600 plus deals through 1.5 million members who are also their investors. And what do? They do startups, they do real estate, they do video games, they do crypto. This is really kind of the short list, but they do a lot of great things. And most important, I think, to us is that this box at the bottom, local business, because these are really impressive numbers, diverse sectors business-wise, but I think we anticipate that we'll get the greatest impact for Oregon through the small business side of things, this category called small business. Okay, what do they look for? This is probably not terribly mysterious, but the very first thing and probably the biggest asset that you have as a company, as a startup, is your team. That would be the leaders, the leadership of the team. It would be those that you've attracted to your team to make it work. But they're looking for things like that dedication, that real work ethic, diversity, charisma, experience, vision, track record, all kinds of things that really would make you stand out as a prospect to invest in. And then they also are looking for traction. And traction in this sense means measurable progress, I beg your pardon, in terms of growth, in terms of social proof. Are you being backed by other notable investors or your community? This is really important to their consideration. Product is the next one. Is the idea, the problem, and the solution compelling? Does the execution quality, attention to detail, and technology, does it make sense? And finally, something they call crowdfundability. Does the company have its own audience utilized for the campaign? This can include customers, social media followings, personal networks, previous crowdfunding campaigns. Now, here's a little secret. All investors and lenders are basically looking for the very same factors. They're looking for smart, driven people. They're looking for some evidence that what you're doing has really got some traction. The product is high quality and it looks like it's going to succeed, and that you've got folks who are supporting it. So instead of crowdfundability, you could just sort of consider it to be, is your community supporting it? Okay, this is a quick, I'll just spend a little bit of time on this, but this is who is doing what. And it's with Republic, RAIN, and Palo Alto Software, which is an Oregon-based, Eugene, Oregon-based company that provides something called LivePlan. More on that in a minute. So over here, RAIN is sourcing the deals. It's looking for entrepreneurs that are ready, entrepreneurs that are ready to learn if they're not entirely ready. And we have assembled a resource called the RAINcap Members Area, where there's a lot of great video content there. It's completely self-paced. It's also a portal to set up Zoom time with me one-on-one. We are encouraging everybody to use LivePlan, which is that great Eugene Company's product. It's probably the top business planning platform out there. It's very helpful for helping you get your pro forma or your financial projections pulled together. And they have some wonderful resources in that they have a pro writer team that can put the polish on a business plan if that's something that's needed. And then finally, Republic. Republic is the platform. They have sole discretion on who gets onto the platform. But we believe that this value chain, this series of resources, will greatly increase your chances to be accepted. If not on Republic, then onto other platforms. Okay. So important. These are some important questions or qualifiers, and essentially, you know, the rhetorical question is RAINcap or another platform right for you? First, you must be able to check all these boxes if you're going to go with us, and your business has to be headquartered in Oregon. You have to be incorporated. It could be an LLC, a C corp, S corp, a B corp. But that you're raising a minimum of $50,000 and you have a network who believes in you and your venture and that you can demonstrate that. That you have some sweat equity invested into your venture, and that's basically, it's your time. It may be foregone salary because you're working hard on your startup. It could be your own money that's been invested as well. And more than anything, as I said, you've got to be committed to working with us and to be coachable. But that's pretty much, that's the stated requirements for RAINcap, but it's kind of, a lot of these are very common to whatever platform you might go on to. Okay, so let's get started by getting started. Step one, you complete the RAINcap intake survey and we set up a Zoom. And the value to us is that it gets you into RAINcap's system, so that we can keep track of your progress. It also prepares me for the Zoom call we're going to have. I get to see if you've got a website. I get to see some of the details that will help me assemble my questions for you. It will also help me to determine your best next resource. It probably could be LivePlan. It could be working with small business development centers, which have been great partners for us. There's the RAINcap's member area and the pro writing team. But the benefit to you of getting started is you get a free evaluation from seasoned investors and lenders. Step two would be accessing resources. So you join the RAINcap members area and you get LivePlan. As I said, the members area is resource rich, it's self-paced, and it's evergreen, and it's kind of your roadmap for preparing your opportunity for presentation. And why LivePlan? As I said, it's a top planning software platform. We can offer you a discount that's quite nice in order to have a subscription to LivePlan. And the other reason is Republic likes LivePlan a lot. It's a consistent format that they can look at for each candidate, and it's very helpful for their due diligence. So the benefits here is you get tools and templates for writing a business plan, and it's almost entirely free. Okay, step three, write your plan. You want to complete your plan and you want to seek some feedback. And it's an iterative process from what everybody has sort of said, and iterative by which I mean it's you work on it, you go away and think about it, you come back and revise it, you think about it, you repeat. And it's not a slam dunk for most of us. There can be some real sections that are a challenge. So let's say you're a brilliant engineer, but you're not so sure about what a marketing plan would be, or you're a wonderful marketer, but you're not that comfortable with pro forma financial projections. And so this can be very, very helpful to you. What you can do is you can make me a guest on your plan, and I can go in and make comments. I can't change what you've written, but I can make suggestions and comments about how you could tighten it up. And the other thing is friends and family review. You've got friends and family that you can abuse by making you read your plan and giving you feedback. Just kidding. I think that's good. That's really valuable. It's incredibly And benefits to you, your plan becomes clearer as you understand it better. Just every iteration, everything that you do is going to make a difference in terms of the clarity and the compellingness of your opportunity. Okay, step 4, get feedback. Get lots and lots of feedback. You can typically get that through one-on-one coaching. And again, the same resources are there. SBDC. RAIN offers a number of resources. One could be working with me. It could also be working with the venture catalyst that's assigned to your region, your county. And we've got an incredible crew of very smart and dedicated venture catalysts who could provide you with some feedback. There are also university capstone projects out there. Portland State University and Oregon State University require a capstone project from seniors who are graduating with a business discipline. And a couple of our candidates have had great success with that. It's worked out very well for them. There's also other third parties out there, and we talked a little bit about the pro writing team that can put the polish on your plan, but there's also SCORE. And the benefits you're going to get from this is that you will learn so much from putting it out there. There's just no substitute for being able to get in front of people and explain things, let them read your plan, and see what sort of feedback they have. It can be incredibly beneficial to you. Finally, step 5, talk it up. You need to perfect your pitches and you need to rally your crowd. And the great place to start is writing your business plan from whence you would probably also derive maybe a pitch deck, an elevator speech, things like that, where you basically need to become the expert in your business and in the sector in which it exists or will exist. You want to be compelling and knowledgeable, and you will get that way by practice, practice, practice. And again, your friends and family, other partners, people that you know that would take an interest and be able to help you out. But the big benefit is you'll be able to talk to anyone about your opportunity when you get to this step. Okay. Excuse me. So what if it's not Republic? Is this like the end of the world? It's not. Now, just to make sure that this is clear, Republic has sole discretion on who gets accepted onto their platform. But the skills that you have gained apply globally to other crowdfunding platforms, to banks and credit unions if you go to seek a loan or to get a line of credit. If you get invited to present at an angel or a seed fund type of event, also the Small Business Administration is enormously, it can be a great resource depending on which business you are trying to launch or to grow. You may have an Aunt Clara and an Uncle Charlie that would be able to help make a difference in terms of either investing in your business or lending you money. You can impress the heck out of them if you've got a great business plan. But you're basically your benefit is you're going to be equipped to raise capital anywhere that you can. This is just a quick recap of and sort of a reframing of the process and benefits, but clearly there's a lot of learning in terms of what's available to you through our members area and through the other types of conversations that you would have. There's a lot of building and fine tuning your deal to submit to the platform. You're going to definitely have to be actively rallying your crowd and informing your crowd so that when you step up to actually launch your campaign, you've got your posse with you. They can step up and help and make a difference. And obviously in terms of promoting, you're going to be engaging your crowd, promoting your deal, raising funds, growing your business. Now there's a bit of an iteration here between steps 1 and 2. You can come back to the learning phase and access any of the resources that we offer at any time. There's no sort of limit on that. Maybe just a sense of timing as well. It's important to understand that once you get accepted, your plan is good, and they've said, yeah, we'd like to have you on onto our platform at Republic, there's a bunch of steps. There's due diligence and onboarding. Campaign is live for a while, and then hopefully you hit your goals and you can close up. But that process can take anywhere from 8 to 20 weeks. And so if you're thinking about the urgency and the timing of money, that's probably a good thing to keep in mind. And I just would like to show you a clip that we have here of our first candidate. Arable Brewing got accepted onto the Republic platform and is actively raising money. You can see that they're currently over 25,000 and 41 investors. But first, the disclaimer. So this is not in any way a solicitation or an offer or an encouragement for you to invest in any security or any company, and it does not form any part of a solicitation or an offering. It's simply educational and informational. But I just think it would be great to share this with you. So let's give that a try. Sorry, it was loaded, but it needs to load again. So it'll just take a second.
Rick, while that's coming up, you just want to scroll down the screen a little bit and show them what this is, a pitch page on Republic's platform. This is, they can see the types of things that are here. Yeah,
but I may be having, here we go. It's finally loading up. But yeah, one of the great advantages of Republic is they do an enormously good job of actually marketing and promoting their deal. And as been mentioned, they have a national audience. They've got they get 1.5 million members that can check out your deal and decide if that's something that they would like to do. So let's see if we can get this.
Arable Brewing Company started as a dream between friends. Friends that became family, and family that decided to make the dream a reality. Many years later, lots of beers brewed in a garage, and many pints shared over fire, we are making it happen. We want all craft beer enthusiasts to know that it is truly a labor of love that starts in the fields and streams in our own backyard. The word arable means land used or suitable for making crops. We chose this name because we understand that quality craft beer truly starts in the field with good farming producing the highest quality ingredients. After many years in the industry, the core aspect of our company mission became clear, and that is the importance of community. That joy is the very thing we want to perpetuate as a brewery. Shift away from the production brewing model and back to the local, community-based place of gathering, the pub. Lowell, Oregon is the type of community that would be perfect for that pub model. We understand that rural towns are truly built around community and coming together. With a thriving outdoor community including the lake in the summer, skiing and snowboarding in the winter, and year-round hiking, our core demographic is in Lowell, Oregon. We are almost there to make this dream a reality. With your investment today, you are helping us purchase our 5-barrel brewhouse and fermenters, as well as a welcoming and unique tasting room.
All right, there we have it. Let me see here. I got to move some things around. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, so that's a little bit about Arable. We're very proud of them. Really pleased that they have they've been tenacious and made it work, and we're just really very, very pleased about their success. But again, that's my personal feeling. I am not advising you to invest. I'm just excited for them, and I'm very excited for our platform. All right, so let's open it up for Q&A. Who's got a question? You may have to take yourself off of mute.
I have a question, Rick. Are we raising hands or are we just popping in for now?
Let me see. Robert, what's your Nate? What are we doing
at this point? Let's just go ahead and pop in, and if it gets too much, then raise hands.
Okay, great.
Sounds good. Well, this is a real basic question, but I'm I'm in very early stages of startup and have very little revenue at this point. I'm stirring a crowd on our Facebook group, and we're building additional pages on our website for the general public to access, as well as a member portal where members only have access to different videos and helps. But what would you say to someone like me that has very little revenue at this point, that is looking into online marketing and looking to grow? Is this something that I could benefit from, or do I need to look into it a little ways down the road?
Well, Eric, thanks for your question. That's a really good one. Um, it's interesting. You don't have to. You can be a pre-revenue company, but you have to make sure that you can demonstrate that it looks like something will happen when you get revenue, and something would happen if you got investment. So the more traction that you can actually make happen in terms of your following, in terms of your due diligence about it, about the industry that you're joining, and I understand it's fitness. That's all. Those are all going to be feathers in your cap. But the process of writing your business plan will help to crystallize a lot of those things for you. So I would encourage you to just keep working on, as you're doing all these other things to build your communities. Keep working on your business plan and get help where you need it.
So I will add in there that I have written a business plan that I am following. I plan to make a revision here in the next 3 months just to update it. But I guess, yeah, I mean, it qualifies as a business plan. I call it an action plan because in my mind, in the past, a business plan has been something that I put in a binder and stuck in a cabinet, but this is more of an action plan for me. I do have that, and I would, I assume that through this program, I could refine that and tweak it and make it better.
Yeah, you absolutely can. You don't have to use Life Plan, but it's what I find is so great about it is that it actually solicits information in different sections that help you sort of organize it. And it prompts you with thought-provoking questions. And it ends up, you can print it out. It looks very professional. And probably one of the great strengths of it is that Republic really appreciates that format. So if you were willing to consider putting it into Live Plan, you could do that, but it doesn't have to be in Live Plan. If you've addressed all of the features that you need to, I think you could be in good shape with that.
If I could, a couple things. First, Rick, why don't you stop sharing so we can all see each other a little bit more clearly during this section. Thank you. And Eric, one of the processes we go through very early in this process, once Rick feels like we want to hear from Republic if they feel you're a good fit for them, we'll set up an appointment and we'll meet with one of their people, and they'll take a look at what you already have. And if they feel like what you have is good to go, then we're not going to have you, we don't have you do extra work just for the heck of it. If they feel like you're in good shape, then you're in good shape. It's also, I may have missed it if Rick said this, so I apologize for repeating, but Republic, from people just coming to their door with an idea and wanting to get on their platform, Republic only approves 1%. It's a tiny amount. Our job in this sort of conduit intermediary position is to help you present yourself, get yourself ready so that when you present, your odds are much greater. And at this point, Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've shown them 6 or 7 deals, and all but one they've given a thumbs up on. Now, they're not on the platform yet, but they've given us basically this verbal approval that the deal looks good for them. So that's a huge shift, right? From 1% to 80 some percent. So that's sort of the value proposition of utilizing us. And I want to say one other thing that's really important for any of you who are in this the real startup phase here. There's value in there's huge value in crowdfunding, and it's has nothing to do with the funding. One of the huge values is that the biggest reason businesses, startups ultimately fail, the number one reason is lack of demand. And there's no better way to figure out to test whether you have demand for your product than to put it out there through a crowdfunding campaign. Now, it might not mean Republic and RAINcap and equity crowdfunding, which can be quite an investment of time and energy to put in. Maybe you start with a simple Kickstarter. You start with something simple just to test your idea and see if it functions. So there are different ways to approach this, but there is huge value in going through this process.
Yep, all good. Thank you, Robert, for those points. Yeah.
So there is a question came to me privately, Rick, on the cash outlay. Do you want to talk about the expenses associated with this effort going through RAINcap?
Be happy to. So there's a few out-of-pocket expenses that you could expect. One of them would be that depending on what you're raising and how you're raising it, you may have to provide something called review financials, which most CPAs would be very easy. They could help you do that. And if you don't happen to know a CPA, there's a whole stable of them that Republic can refer you to. But that would be possibly up to $1,000 or maybe a little bit more. The other piece would be that because Republic is a broker dealer, they are a licensed broker dealer. The SEC puts a lot of compliance upon them. And there's something called Form C that has to be submitted. It's got a lot of pages to it, but it typically is going to be between maybe $1,000 to $1,500 in order to assemble that. Now, that's kind of your upfront costs. Republic also has to be paid. So they typically will depending on whether you're doing a revenue share loan, which is essentially like a bank loan, it's a little bit different because it is securitized, or you're doing equity, which is selling a chunk of your business to somebody. They will ask you for around 5% of the cash that you raise. And that's how they get paid. That's their only way that they get paid. And just to make it absolutely clear, RAIN does not get any of this money. We do not participate in any of this as an organization. As individuals, we're free to invest if we so desire. But this is not a money-making proposition for RAIN or RAINcap.
Yeah, we are funded. We are funded through the Economic Development Administration and other funders to do this work. So our efforts on your behalf are all free. Another question here. Go ahead and raise your hand so I don't skip over you. But there are a couple of questions in the chat. Annie asks about helping get the videos done in RAIN. How does that work? Sorry, in Republic, once they're on the platform. How do they get those videos put together?
Yeah, so this is really on the topic of what's the value add? Why would you give 5% of your cash to Republic? They will do an amazing job helping you. I think there's a great deal of value that you'll receive. But among them would be, a national marketing campaign via your campaign page on their website. And they also will help you to produce your pitch video, which is the one that we just watched about on Arable Brewing. And they have experts, and they can help you, advise you in doing that. And you can see a real range. If you go, I would encourage you to go onto the Republic site, become an investor. There's no obligation whatsoever. And as it turns out, almost everybody in America can invest in this way. And check out how some of the other videos are made, how other opportunities are presented. it's quite impressive. So does that sort of answer the question? I think, Robert?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Ivo, did you have a question?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Robert. Thank you very much, Rick. That was a really incredible presentation, and I'm learning a ton here. So we have a couple of tap rooms and are expanding into 2 more in the next 18 months. We just signed a lease over the weekend. And we check all of the boxes, I feel, in terms of where our company is. We have an amazing team. We have great social traction. We have a product that seems to be resonating in a couple of places now. What we don't have is we're not domiciled in Oregon. We're in Washington. We got admitted to this team thing through the Economic Development Council of Island County, which is where our first unit is. And so I learned an amazing amount overall over the process so far, but you know, we're not in the right place. Is there any assistance that you can offer, even if it wasn't joining Republic through your channel?
I can answer some of that, and Rick, you can handle the kind of the details about the grant. Well, I guess broadly speaking, our grant from the Economic Development Administration is to serve Oregon businesses. Very specific about that. However, we are in conversation with Island County up there to start providing services up there. That doesn't necessarily mean we automatically have access to the RAINcap program because it's funded by a different grant. But in terms of just, you know, providing support and advice and direction, we can do a lot of that. We might not be able to call it a RAINcap project, but we can absolutely help you out.
Right. Okay. And even, I mean, just I think the value of the mentorship and just having somebody be able to look over our deck and everything, you know, that's really where we're stuck. Our business plan is solid, or, you know, everything is really solid. We've got great performance. We're doing really well, but we need to create right now. The big challenge is we need to create a slide deck to go out and start raising for this next build out. And so that's really where, I mean, so I'd like, even if we could, you know, pay for some time with some of the experts, we'd be willing to do that, but just don't really know where to turn at this point.
We can make those connections. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Did I miss anything, Rick?
No, I don't think so. Ivo, where will your new tap rooms be?
Well, so we started up in Camano Island, which is our connection with Island County. Our second one is in a community called Mukilteo, which is north of Seattle, and then the third one is going to be in a community called Mill Creek, and the fourth one in Lake Stevens. So it's all, you know, our model is to go to these community sort of bedroom communities of a larger city and become involved in the community that way and offer a product that is generally not there.
Great. Yeah, that sounds pretty compelling. Please get in touch with either with Robert or with me, and we can help you out.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Question from the chat. Ellen asks if crowdsourcing would work for nonprofits, and I'll answer this. And again, Rick, throw something at me if I'm wrong here. Republic is really designed, because it's an equity crowdfunding platform. It is designed. They're kind of looking at deals to figure out how you're going to raise revenue in the future. So it's really about, you know, figuring out how your business model works and being comfortable that it will work. So equity-based crowdfunding is probably not going to work for a 501c3, and I would be surprised if that were the case. However, as I mentioned on that early slide, there are different types of crowdfunding, and one of them is donation crowdfunding, which is GoFundMe. We think of more for individuals who have a need, but there are entire crowdfunding platforms set up specifically for nonprofits, and it has proven to be effective. If you can make a good pitch, write a good video that's compelling, it's absolutely a potential win for you. So yeah, I'd definitely look into that, Ellen, and reach out to me if you have any questions about that. Sarah.
Hi there. What size team do you need to have? And other than that, I think we fit a lot of the what they're looking for. So what size team would we need to qualify? And that's it.
Okay. Well, I'll take that one. You need the size of team that works for your business. You could be a solopreneur. You could have a very small team. It could be a larger team. But I think it will behoove you. It will be good if you can demonstrate that you have the functions that you would need to make the company work and grow, that you have them covered. And so it really depends on the nature of your business. There's no requirement that you must have, a C-suite and a whole cadre of people working for you. It's really very particular to the business, and typically as you grow, you staff up, right? So it's not a fixed number, and it's not something that necessarily there's no bar you have to clear on that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll add to that in the world of venture capital and angel investment, you go through this process of delivering your pitch. You've got your pitch deck and all of this pressure, and most VCs will tell you that what they're investing in is the individual behind it. They know that the numbers are all just guesses, the ideas aren't yet proven, all of that. But if they really like the person, they like the team that's put together, they'll consider that worth the investment from time to time. So it is really an important piece, and often not really thought about from this side, but from their side, it's very important.
That's a good point. And Robert, there's a saying in venture capital that it's better to invest in a smart team with a okay product, okay project, it's good enough, than to invest in a team that doesn't have their act together and they've got some brilliant idea. As I said, the biggest assets you have is your leadership and the people who are supporting. And so that's a big question, or a big hurdle when people are looking at you. It's like, do I trust these people? Are they smart? Do they look like they can do this?
We've got a question in here from Kathy, a couple questions. The first one is about qualified investors, and we don't have to be a qualified investor to participate in this because of the Jobs Act from 8 years ago. Do you want to talk about that a little bit more? Is there a point where qualified investing actually does need to come into play?
Yeah, so before 2006 and the Jobs Act, if you wanted to participate in investing in what these are called exempt offers, because the SEC says we're not going to look over your shoulder on this. You're going to do it as a private offering and a private placement, and that's the way it's going to go. Back then, you had to be either an accredited investor or a qualified investor. Accredited investor meant that you had, I think, over $1 million in net worth, liquid net worth, or net worth, and or you made $350,000 a year at the household level. A qualified investor was much more for institutional investors, so it would be funds or foundations or things like that, and the bar was considerably higher. I think it was 5 or 10 million. But anymore, almost any American can invest about $2,000 a year in crowdfunding, and it's completely democratized the whole idea of supporting startups and of the growth of small businesses.
Yeah. And so that applies to this equity crowdfunding that Republic does, what we're doing through RAINcap. Other crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter, that's not an equity, that's not a securities issue. That's just basically a gift that you're giving. So the qualified investment or non-qualified investment doesn't really apply there, but it absolutely applies here. And if you're wondering, well, why the heck did they have those huge limits? Isn't that just gatekeeping and keeping people out? Honestly, it's for the safety and financial security of average humans, to ensure that people weren't, investing their house in bad pitches, right? And there is still due diligence that has to happen on the part of Republic. When somebody wants to invest, they do ask financial questions to make certain that people do have the ability, the financial wherewithal to make these investments. So everybody can invest, but how much they can invest might still be limited based on their situation.
That's a really good point, Robert. If anybody on this call, this webinar today has ever invested in the stock market through a mutual fund or directly into an equity or whatever it happens to be, there's no guarantee that you will get your money out. You could lose everything. Investing in small companies that are unproven is probably the riskiest area of investing. Yeah. And what there's dismal statistics that say that one in 10 startups actually succeed through their third year or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so it's important to realize that you have a dream, you have a great idea, a vision, you may have a going concern. A small company already started. There is a high mortality rate for small companies, and so this style of investing is considered to be quite risky. That being said, it's happening every day, everywhere, and people are really excited about it. So, it's just, that's kind of the compliance thing that you have to say, or you should be saying.
Yeah, if we go back to that chart at the very beginning that had high innovation or disruption at the top of the chart, and then tried and true at the bottom, the world of venture capital and equity funding, it's typically at the top end of that, where the risks are greater because people are trying new things. There's just less certainty than if you're going to open a franchise, which is at the very bottom of the chart, right? So there is risk with this type of effort, but again, as Rick said, it's happening everywhere. Kathy also shared a scenario, and I'm going to go ahead and read it. It's here in the chat. She says a project she'd like to evolve is liberatedsalad.com, a simple garden anyone can grow almost anywhere. She says she may need to tie in with a nonprofit, and is asking, would she not then be able to apply to Republic? I don't think that would be the case. But what's your thought on that project, Rick?
I think you're right, Robert. With the Jobs Act and the sort of evolution of crowdfunding, a lot of things have changed a lot. And once upon a time, if you had done crowdfunding prior to 2006, and you went then to angel or venture money, many times they would be discouraged by something called your cap table, which means that it states who owns what percentage of your company. And if you've done crowdfunding, you might have Uncle Charlie at $10 and Aunt Clara at $15, and 600 other people as well. And that would make the venture capital folks a little bit crazy. Anymore, that's not an issue. If you were to be successful crowdfunding on the Republic platform and probably many others, it's a single line in your cap table. It just says this group of investors owns 15% of your company. The other piece is that they've become much more easygoing and flexible about who else might also be investing in you, or with whom you may already be associated. So if you're working with a nonprofit, that is not it's not a showstopper. If you already have investors, that's not a showstopper. Many times they will look at the deals that you've already done and say, okay, it looks like we could do something similar to the deals you've already established. So there's a lot of flexibility in there, and the devil's in the details. But generally speaking, I don't think you have to worry about that.
Yeah, and you make a really good point there, Rick. Another consideration here is that very often, whether it's a bank or an investor or Uncle Charlie, Aunt Clara, they can't get you the entire amount that you need, and you don't have it in the bank. So what do you do? Crowdfunding, and this type of crowdfunding in particular, is an excellent additional layer of funding support. So it does take work to make it happen, but because it's if you were to get like a single equity investor, sometimes they'll want to come in and control things. They'll come in, and that can be good, but it can also be bad. My dad actually lost his business of 16, 17 years to equity investors because they changed basically they changed up everything on him and he couldn't work with them anymore. So it can be dangerous, but crowdfunded equity, like we're doing here, you don't get much outside influence trying to change what you're doing. So it is an interesting way to bring in investment without that added layer of pressure that they're going to be, sitting on your shoulder watching everything you do.
Right. Loss of control is often very important to entrepreneurs, and I'm sure you know that better than anyone as entrepreneurs and small business owners. So that's why the revenue share loan is there. It's debt instead of equity. You're indebted to your lenders, but they don't own a piece of your business the way they would if it was an equity, a straight ahead equity type of deal. The other thing is, Robert made me think just now that anymore, if you have a successful crowdfunding campaign, that is seen as a great indicator of traction. Yep. And if you need to raise more money and you've had a successful campaign, that often looks like a green light to either venture, angel, or individual private investor.
Nate has a question for you, Rick.
Yeah, Rick, could you talk about this also from kind of a marketing standpoint? In other words, it strikes me that a company like Arable or others that are maybe located in a particular community, this is something that they'll be marketing primarily to their maybe existing customers or the people on their newsletter, sort of taking people from being just a customer to being sort of a loyal owner, I guess, stakeholder. Could you just speak to this, kind of what you see as kind of a marketing opportunity that this might present to business?
Yeah, and it's kind of macro and micro. So the micro would be if you're in a small community and you have friends and associates there who support your business, it's really a fantastic opportunity to get them to kind of step up and do $100, do $50, do more if they can and they want to. But it also the sort of macro thing is that you've got a national audience. So if for some reason the investors who live around you don't really understand what you're doing, and they just are saying, no, not for me, I'm not interested, you have a much bigger pool that you're fishing in, right with Republic, where you could be getting investors from Georgia or Florida or lenders from Texas or New Jersey, and it's a great way to market in that sense to a very much bigger audience. The way these two interact is that the national audience is going to be looking at what happened with your community investors, and they will see that as a sign of a vital sign of your opportunity, and your local investors will be impressed that you've got a national campaign up there on a big website for one of the top platforms, and it's like, wow, this is legit. I think it's kind of there's a lot of great sort of iterative good stuff going on. Does that help? Does that address your question? Right?
I think it does, Rick. Yeah, thank you.
So we're coming up on the hour here. So this is just about perfect. Any other questions? Any final question for Rick? Oh, I guess I'm going to share the next step. Let me pull this up because there is a follow-up. I'm already on that page. So let me go here, share. All right. So what's next? This is the website to the RAINcap page, and there's as Rick mentioned, there is a intake survey that's linked on that page, and more information about the program. You can also reach out to us. I'm going to go ahead and just plug this into the chat along with my email in case you want to reach out to me. And either Rick or I are capable of kind of supporting you on this journey, so don't hesitate.
Yeah, no, I'm just Rick at OregonRain.org. So we have pretty simple email addresses.
Excellent. Kathy's asking more about nonprofits with parallel business entities. Yeah, there's no regulatory restriction keeping any type of entity working with Republic. It really, the only question is the business model something that is investable? Is it something that people can invest in, knowing that with that investment, or believing that with that investment, their revenues are going to increase and they'll be able to get paid back for that investment, whether they're paid back through the revenue shared loan or through their equity, either one. So yeah, there's nothing in the way. It just needs to fit their model. And that's the case with every type of lender out there, lender or investor out there. They all have the sort of the ideal fundable business entity, and sometimes it's just trying to find the right resource. We think that RAINcap and the Republic is the most flexible of the, in this world of equity crowdfunding. It's the way to support the largest number of clients that are typically kind of missing in other areas. So we're really excited about it. Rick, thank you. You did a great job. Really appreciate all your insight and expertise.
My pleasure. Thank you. And thank everybody for your questions and your time today.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the information.
Pleasure.
And we'll see most of you next week.
Yes, thank you. Have a great day.
Okay.